Good evening. My name is Helen Pearson, and on behalf of the Franklin Business and Professional Women, we would like to welcome you to the first of our two forums. To give equal opportunities to all the candidates, we felt necessary to do so as we're heading towards the November 6th general election. Our next forum will be Tuesday, October the 23rd at 6 p.m. here at this same location. We've conducted many forums over the years, and every forum has its moderator. We are proud to announce that ours is Mr. Mark Dobbs. Mark is assistant principal at Franklin Simpson High School and very supportive of his community and BPW. I'm going to ask Mark to come now, and he will explain the format of tonight's forum, and thank you all for coming.
I want to thank everybody for coming. The forum tonight is going to be basically in two parts. The first half of the forum, we're going to hear from the candidates and the representatives running for state representative from the 22nd District. We'll also hear from the candidates running for Commonwealth Attorney. And then at that point, we have a number of unopposed candidates, and we wanted to give them the opportunity to speak as well. And so we'll just go down from the ballot, and I'll call up the unopposed candidates, and they'll have time to speak to let you in the audience and you at home to get to know them a little bit better and what they stand for. At that point, we'll take a short break, and when we do that, we'll take the mayoral candidates and the candidates for city commission and sequester them in the back. And we do that so nobody has an advantage over the questions that we're going to ask. We'll do the mayoral candidates first, and then we'll do the city commission candidates. Everybody that comes up does so in the way that they are put on the ballot. And nobody will hear the questions. Nobody's heard the questions. It's kind of neat this year. The questions have come from all over the community, and in fact, for the first time, we've actually gotten some of our advanced placement kids in the AP government class write some questions, and some of those questions will be asked as well. I just want a couple of announcements, a couple of housekeeping things. We will be taking a break. Try to keep distractions to a minimum. If you haven't already, please silence your cell phones or turn them off so we don't pick those up. For the candidates, when you're talking, I know I'm asking the questions, but the answers aren't for me. So don't turn and look at me, look at the audience, look at the camera, and remember that there will be people watching at home. And don't just turn to me and answer the questions. Answer out to the audience so that everybody can get a good look at you. I want to thank the Business and Professional Women's Club for sponsoring this. I don't know how long I've been doing these things as moderators. I tell the candidates every time it's a much easier job for me than it is for them because the questions are written out for me and they haven't seen them. None of the candidates have seen the questions. In fact, I don't think the questions were finalized until late this afternoon, maybe last night. And there are, for the candidates that will ask questions or will answer questions, they'll come up, they'll have an introduction, they'll be able to introduce themselves, and then they'll have 2.5 minutes to answer each question, and then there'll be a closing. Candidates, for those of you who will be answering questions, Rachel will be over here. When you see her hold her hand up, that means you have 30 seconds to answer the question. You have 30 seconds left on your allotted time. And then when her hand goes down, that means your time is up. And I'm not going to cut you off mid-sentence. I'll let you finish your thought, but then we will go on to the next question. At this point, I'd like to go ahead and get it started. Our first candidate to speak tonight is the Republican candidate for the 22nd District of the state of Kentucky, Mr. Brian Tiger Gann.
Thank you, Mr. Dobbs. I'd like to thank the BPW for allowing us this opportunity to come here and speak tonight. My name is Brian Gann. My friends know me also as Tiger. I've been given that name since a young child. I am the son of Jack Gann and Pat Gann. My brother is Lonnie Gann. My lovely wife is Tamara, and my 2 daughters, Molly and Lily. I am a Christian conservative family man, and I want to talk to you about a number of topics here tonight. First off, I want to start with school and education. Our education needs to be properly funded. I want to work with our superintendents in our schools in order to make sure our schools and teachers have proper funding and resources to educate our children, and make sure that all of our children are educated, and make sure that they have equal access to education and programs. I want our children to be safe. The safety and well-being of our children is paramount. I want to find ways to make our schools more secure, promote legislation to tackle the pervasive opioid crisis that is infiltrating our communities and young people of today. For agriculture, I want to talk about promoting legislation that makes sure we have healthy food, clean water, and better way of life. Work with our local farmers to develop relationships and open lines of communication to carry their needs and concerns to Frankfurt. I want to stay abreast of all current agriculture-related issues and legislation in order to be the best advocate that I can be for agricultural community, which is the backbone of our community. There are 3 platforms that I want to concentrate on when I go to Frankfurt. That is tax reform, the opioid crisis, and safety for our schools. I believe that I am the better person for this office because of my honesty, integrity, and conservative approach to wanting to conduct our business in the state of Kentucky. I'll provide the best outcome of our decisions being made in Frankfurt. I have an honest and sincere desire to serve the citizens in our district, and I believe that my conservative values and principles, that I am the best person for the job. As a trooper for 18 and a half years, I was the problem solver of all kinds. I even made life and death decisions in a moment's time. I want to go to Frankfurt and be a problem solver for you. I want to talk a little bit about the economy. I want to continue to support the right to work, and the prevailing wage was voted down. Right to work is not a settled issue. Other states have been able to vote for right to work, such as Missouri. However, Missouri, they've recently overturned it by court decision. So they could still try to do that here in Kentucky. And I want to make sure that I'm up there in order to help shore up the conservative Republican values that they're pushing forward now today. If given the opportunity, I'll promise you that I will serve you in the best capacity possible and give you my every effort. Thank you.
As many of you may know, Wilson Stone, the Democratic candidate for the state representative from the 22nd District, has fallen ill. Mr. John Hall will speak on behalf of Wilson Stone tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Dobbs, and I do appreciate you not mentioning my height compared to Wilson's. You know, so. I may be a smaller, more compact version, but I want to talk a little bit. First of all, let me tell you about Wilson. Several people have asked about his health. Saturday, he was over here, and you could not have asked for a more energetic person. Sunday, he was teaching Sunday school, and suddenly he broke out into a sweat, and he kind of got weak, and he had to sit down. After resting for a little bit, he got feeling better, but still they wanted to find out what was going on, so they took him to the emergency room. To make a long story short, they discovered after some scans and taking him to Bowling Green that he had a tumor in his brain. And from that point, they have moved. He went to Vanderbilt today, or he's seen the doctors at Vanderbilt. And as soon as they can, it's going to be a week before they can go in, but they're going to go in to remove the tumor next week. And he is fully expecting. Wilson's a very optimistic and hopeful type person. So he's hoping that within a week or so, he's going to be back out and back on the farm and back campaigning. So I do appreciate BPW Club for allowing me to stand in for him. And I just want to talk just briefly about some of the things that you've probably heard Wilson say before, but first of all, let me go back and tell you where our relationship started. I'm a graduate of Western Kentucky University, and luck would have it that Wilson and I were both studying agriculture at Western at the same time. So I got to know him way back in the old days, back in the 70s and the 80s, while we were in school at Western. In 2008, when Rob Wilkie decided to give up his position, Wilson decided to run for state representative. And lo and behold, my dear wife, Debbie, became active in his campaign and actually took over the Simpson County part of it. And that's when I discovered that Debbie grew up in Scottsville, where Wilson was. She'd known Wilson all her life. I say that to let you know that we know Wilson probably as well as anybody outside of his family. And you will not find a more honest, trustworthy individual. That's why I'm up here talking to him. He's a family man. He's a leader in his church. He's been a successful farmer for many, many years. He's served on many boards, and both ag-related and in the community. He's one of the big things that he did is he served on the Allen County School Board for 24 years, most of those as the chairman of the school board. He's been our 22nd district representative since he was elected in 2008. He's now the House Minority Whip, which for those of you who may not realize means that he's right under the minority floor leader. And so he's got a leadership position in our legislature. He's an advocate for public education, has been all of his life and still is. And he has really embraced that over the years, and is, that's one of his major issues. He's an agriculture advocate. He advocates for industry, community development, and he's a problem solver. I wonder how many people in this room could say they called Wilson and he returned that call and he's worked to help solve those problems. He's got a lot of devotion to not only Simpson County, Allen County, and Warren County, but to this whole region. He's a valuable person in the state. Is it really? I talked too long about myself. But I apologize. Can I say one more thing? Okay. I appreciate you all letting me talk about it.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. We will next hear from the candidates for Commonwealth Attorney. The first is Republican candidate Cora Gordon.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate the BPW allowing us to come here and speak tonight. There's quite a few people here tonight, which I really appreciate. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself, and hopefully by the time I get through talking, y'all will decide that I'm the candidate that you want to vote for. First of all, let me tell you about myself. I reside here in Simpson County I've got two of my three children here tonight, which I really appreciate them coming. I'm a graduate of Western Kentucky University and University of Louisville Law School. I've been practicing criminal law for 19 years. And I'm a general practitioner here in town, so I do a lot of different things. My office, if you know where my office is, it's on College Street there in the Morgan Law Office. I have a broad experience, including both state court, federal court, everything from family law to the neglect abuse cases to just about anything that comes in the door as a small town practitioner. I've represented thousands of clients over my 19 years, which I really appreciate, and most of whom, probably 90% of whom, are in the South Central Kentucky area. I practiced over 23 counties. I'm a veteran of the first Gulf War. I was military police in the military, so I've had military police training as well. And I have a successful private practice. Now, if you elect me a Commonwealth attorney, and I'm very confident that once elected, there are many things I'm going to do to change the office. First of all, we're going to have grand jury indictments within 60 days. As you probably know, if grand jury indictments are not done within 60 days, then the person can be let out of jail. So it's vitally important to get it done within 60 days. We'll have an open door policy, have a full-time assistant that right now it's a part-time assistant, and I want to make sure somebody's got a full-time position. We'll need to certainly get funding for that as well. Speedy case resolution, and I'll be changing the office hours to 4:30 each day. I want to make sure that we have the multidisciplinary team meetings, which means that we have the child neglect, abuse, particularly sexual abuse, that they are definitely handled, with great expediency in trying to get that done. And the reason why I'm doing this is if you look at statistics, and you can look at my website, it's morganforcommonwealth.com. Simpson and Allen counties are falling way behind as far as the statistics. For instance, since 2010, Allen county's increased in delays by 61.3%, and Simpson County by 237.9%. That's since 2010. It takes on average 22.47 months to close a felony case in Simpson County, 15.08 months to close one in Allen County. This is compared to Warren County, which is 7.45, Logan's 5.22, and Barron is 5.79 months. And none of this is due to rocket docket type stuff, because usually that's very limited on the things that are allowed for rocket docket. We don't have rocket docket here in either Simpson or Allen counties, but that's a major concern. And you can see all the statistics on my website if you'd like to take a look at that. Like I said, it's morganforcommonwealth.com, or if you want to send me a message if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions at all. But I'm confident once you look at all that information that you will see that I'm the right one for the job, and I would really appreciate your vote on November the 6th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Our next speaker will be the Democratic candidate for Commonwealth Attorney, Clint Willis.
Thank you, and appreciate a little bit. I appreciate the BPW having this tonight, inviting all the candidates. My name is Clint Willis. Many of you know me. I was born and raised in Franklin, Simpson County my whole life. My parents were T.C. and Mary Willis. They ran Sugar Willis Drug Store. Married Amy Willis. My wife over there, she was Amy Blewett, was connected to the West End grocery store, and her father was on the tobacco market for years. We have two daughters. We've married 25 years, and we have two daughters. They're both attending Western Kentucky University. As far as personal life, I grew up attending First Baptist Church in town. My parents grew up there. Amy grew up going to Silver Spring Baptist Church. When we got married, deciding, I think I told people the other day, we decided where to raise the children and which church to go to. We compromised and Since I went to First Baptist, you went to Sulphur Springs, we compromised and went to Sulphur Springs. So that's the normal way it goes in America. As far as the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, that's essentially on TV, other places, they call it the District Attorney, the DA. It handles all the felony cases. Essentially, we have about 10 different law enforcement agencies that have, we've got the Sheriff's Office, 2 counties, Police Department, 2 counties, Kentucky State Police, Federal Vehicle Enforcement, FBI, different ones. They funnel them in all the serious cases, every case involving murder, rape, robbery, burglary, all of those get funneled to one place, and that's the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. We handle every one of the cases for every one of those agencies in the 2 counties. And what you end up doing is you end up having the Commonwealth Attorney, and you have defense attorneys that are paid $10, $20, $50, and even $100,000 with the sole purpose of beating our office. And that's what they do. That's what they're supposed to do. But we're highly successful. We win the cases. I started 18 years ago. The very first case I had was, and Chief Powell's here somewhere, is his case, the shooting outside of the 6th grade center where they had to, on the street there, where they had to close down the school. That was the very first case I had 6 weeks into the job. Last several years, we've had quite a few murders in the 2 counties. They affect the lengthier cases. We successfully prosecuted all those cases. We have 5 live cases now on murder cases. Actually 4, we've convicted another one of murder. We're waiting on final sentencing for that case. We have another one that's a serious assault, going to the grand jury tomorrow on a small child, a baby in Allen County. We're hoping and praying that that's not going to become one more of those cases. That's what we do for a living. That's what our office does. You have to have somebody in the office that's successful, that has a reputation for winning. This case is not about, we don't deal with divorces and bankruptcies, anything along those lines. All we do are felony prosecutions on the highest level. As far as any statistics go, feel free to look up any statistics you want that are on anybody's website. They essentially compare us to 3 counties. They compare us to 1 county, Logan County, which is my opponent's home county, where the Commonwealth Attorney and their spouse is under indictment for multiple felony charges. I don't think we should be compared to that county. I don't think you should compare us to a county that has the chief prosecutor that's under felony indictment, okay? The other 2 counties are counties that do have rocket dockets, which is essentially a federal grant to run all the drug cases faster and quicker. And the same way, if anybody's out there selling cars, the way that you sell a whole lot of cars quicker is you cheapen the price on them and you move them faster. Okay, that's the essence of a rocket docket there. The other 2 counties run those. All 3 counties listed on those statistics have more assistant Commonwealth attorneys than us, including Warren County, which essentially has 3 times our caseload, but 12 times our assistant Commonwealth attorney manpower hours. The state has granted us a request to make a full-time assistant Commonwealth attorney. They simply did not fund it, okay? They gave us, the response they gave us was that our assistant Commonwealth attorney would have to agree to work double the number of hours for the exact same amount of pay that he had to begin with. That was the state's response. As far as when that funding will go, you can ask any school teacher in there how much extra money the state has lying around. That's a lot of what's going on here. Is there are promises that are being made that involve funding that I don't think is available. You've got a choice here between experience or not. But we appreciate your support, and thank you for your time.
We will now begin to hear from our unopposed candidates. First up is Sam Phillips, County Attorney.
Good evening, everyone. Like everybody else, I'd like to thank BPW for allowing me a chance to address you all. I was looking around to see, we do have some spectators. I was worried with this bigger crowd, it was just all the candidates we have running this fall. I don't think I've ever seen this many people running for office, which is a good thing. It's good for our community, good actually for our system. My name is Sam Phillips. I'm the county attorney. I'm born and raised in Franklin. My parents were Joe and Marion Phillips. I married former Audrey Russell, library director, who's been running around like a crazy woman trying to get the library moved for the last couple of months. Been married, be 21 years here in a couple of weeks. Have 4 children who are not here, fortunately, or they'd be wrecking the place. So you're welcome for the peace and quiet, but that's where they are. I've been practicing law approximately 26 years. I've been partnered up with Tim Mefford all that time. I joke with him that sometimes I think we last longer than most married couples, which is kind of funny because we aren't all that much, our personalities are considerably different. I was a public defender for the first couple of 3 years, and then I was in private practice, and I was planning and zoning attorney for a while, and I've been county attorney approximately 11 years. People ask what the county attorney does. When I was running a primary campaign, my answer was a lot, and then I would kind of specify. The lion's share of what I do is I am the prosecuting attorney of the Commonwealth's representative in district court. And so I handle all the state's prosecutions in district court. So when people make their initial appearance in district court, which I call the People's Court, everything from speeding tickets to shoplifting to assaults, all the way up to felonies. Even if it's a murder, your first initial court appearance is in district court. So I deal with everything from traffic offenses all the way up to felonies. And then on felonies, I conduct preliminary hearings and send them on to the grand jury for Mr. Willis and his fine staff to take care of. The second, probably most time-consuming thing I do, or the thing that I spend next to my time on, is I do child support enforcement in Simpson County. I sign a contract with the cabinet, the state to do that, a year-to-year contract, and so that takes up also a big portion of my practice. Probably the next thing is I'm also the attorney for the county, and so I go to fiscal court and I represent the fiscal court, and so I represent the county in civil matters. And so that's most of what I do. There's a few other things that I do, but those are the big ones. I've been your county attorney, and I appreciate your all's faith in me, and I ask humbly for your vote on November 6th. Once again, thank you for allowing me to address you all.
We'll next hear from Jerry Hobson. He is on the ballot for sheriff.
Thank you, Mr. Dobbs, and I appreciate everybody coming out tonight, ladies hosting this fine event. A little bit about myself. My name's Jerry Hobson, for those that don't know me. I'm the son of Jerry and Sally Hobson, the late Jerry and Sally Hobson. Grew up in Franklin, been here pretty much my whole life. Took a break for maybe 5 or 6 years throughout that, living different places. Graduated in 1983. I love Franklin Simpson. I'm a Franklin boy. Lived other places. I always wanted to come home. This is where I'll die. Graduated in 83, went to Western, got a degree in corporate and organizational communications, which just means I wasn't good at anything other than running my mouth, so that's kind of the direction I took in life. Worked in the business world for 3 years, lived in Atlanta for a year and a half, up in Louisville for a couple of years as a salesperson. And then I was lucky enough to get on the state police, followed my dad's previous profession, and best move I ever made. Served on the state police for 22 years. After that, retired, took over as drug task force director for a year, and then was blessed enough to become your sheriff, which was kind of a lifelong dream as well. So, been your sheriff for the last 5 years. We've got a great community. I love our community. You hear lots of things about Franklin. You'll hear people go, well, we got more drugs in Franklin than anywhere in the world. We got a lot of drugs in Franklin. And that's one of my commitments for the next 4 years, is to continue on trying to curtail that. But Franklin's not worse than the other counties. When I was with the state police, I had the pleasure of working in about 60 different counties. So I can weigh what happens in Simpson County against other counties. Doesn't mean we don't need to work. Doesn't mean we don't need to be a team. We've got city government, we've got county government, we've got state government. And everybody has to learn to work together. I despise both political parties. I'm a Democrat standing up here. You can ask my views on this, you can ask my views on that. I love everybody, but I really don't get caught up in politics. If any of you ever heard me talk politics, it's very little. I'll talk to you about the issues of Franklin, because that's what I believe in. If there's something you want solved, we'll look at it and solve. Sheriff's office, I've always had an open door policy. Don't make a mistake. I take you seriously when you come in there. And I'm going to listen to you, and I'm going to talk to you. You may not like what I tell you, because the people that don't like me, it's because I told them the truth and they didn't want to hear the truth. So, if anything, I'm an honest person. It may not be anything that you can handle. The next 4 years, I'm going to center on drugs. We've got a drug problem. It's not worse than other places, but an example, 6 years ago, we might see 1 needle a week, and when I say a needle, somebody we've arrested has a needle on them. And if you've got a needle, it means you're a bad addict and you're injected, and that's not a good thing. Now, probably 5, 6 times a week, we're coming across needles on people. That's a dramatic increase. Eric Baum will tell you when he gets up here. He sees the people we arrest, and he knows more of their stories than we do. So, got to work on that. School safety. We've implemented some good school programs this year. So we're going to continue on that and developing the sheriff's office. So, open door policy. I can talk your head off all night. Come see me if you ever have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I'd like to invite Eric Baum, the jailer.
Apologize for my tag being gone. The coroner was doing something with it. Came here tonight not really to politic, but just tell you what we're doing at the jail and where we're going. I didn't know we had 3 or 4 minutes. I thought we was going to get to say our piece, Mark. But anyway, thank you, BPW, for having us. I'm Eric Baum. I'm the son of David Chigger Baum, and Sherry Heath is my mother. My wife is Susan of 15 years, and my son is Cade, and my daughter is Taylor. I'm just going to ramble on real quick. I just want to tell you what's going on in the Simpson County Jail. As you know, our inmate work program is still rolling. Our streets are clean. Our park system's nice, kept up. Been working with our city and county agencies to ensure that our community looks great. Our school system, we've been pretty active with the school here lately. As Sheriff Hobson said, we, on the jail's behalf, we talked with the Sheriff's Office and Franklin PD after the Marshall County shootings, and we've posted 4 officers at 4 different schools in the mornings to ensure safety. I don't know what you can say about that other than we're doing our part. We're working with the Sheriff's Office. We're working with the Franklin Police Department. We're also trying to help save money at the school system, along with the city and the county projects, such as storm cleanup, the Simpson Elementary Gymnasium. They redid it last year. They had to tear up the floors. It's going to cost the school system about $10 grand to tear it up. We went in there and did it for pretty much free, paid 1 deputy. So we're saving money there. We started, this is what I really want you to hear, and I hope I get through this, and I'm going to go fast.
started a SCORE program 3 years ago. It's to rehabilitate the inmates. And when I say rehabilitate, teach them how to be dads and moms and be productive citizens in our community, in whichever community they go back to. There's a lot of requirements for them to get through this program. There's 9 steps in 3 phases. If they complete these phases, we've added a new step, major step, in our programs for our community. And one of the main things is the GED. They have to complete their GED to even qualify for this program, which I might add, we have the highest success rate of GEDs in the state. The pilot program, we're the pilot program for the state in this working our inmates in the public sector. And we've joined forces with a lot of local businesses, and we actually have low-level offense inmates working in the public sector. They are making, these are only for classified inmates. They have to complete a series of certified classes. They have to submit a resume and apply for the jobs. They have to interview just like any of us would. I know, I'm hurrying. They need to know this. They're making a living wage. And what we're doing is we're turning tax burdens into taxpayers. So that's one of the things I'm really proud of. Another thing is, as far as representing your county as your jailer, I've served on the Kentucky Jailers Association Board of Directors from the time I took office. I'm now on the Executive Board of Directors for the state of Kentucky, and this benefits us in a way as far as generating revenue and bringing it back into our community so we can succeed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Baum. We'll next hear from Kevin Gilbert, who is on the ballot for coroner.
Good evening. I want to thank the BPW for allowing us to come and speak tonight. I promise you I won't take as long as Eric, so you might give somebody else a little more time. Okay. All right. First, y'all, my name is Kevin Gilbert. Again, my wife is Kim. We have 2 children, Brittany, and my son Alex, who has just went to college. So we're kind of empty nesting. It's a change for us. Also proud to be a pop now. So as of August, we become grandparents. Coroner's office, you know, it's the person that you don't ever want to see. So let me say that. I'm glad I get to see y'all tonight upright. So got a few things that I'd like to do to get changed, just get it more upstream into the computer age. You know, a few things there, get the cleaned up. You know, one thing I want to do as far as being a public speaking tonight, I want to thank Jerry D. and the Franklin Police Department. When we're there on scene, they have been very, very helpful and easy to work with as far as what we need to do as far as getting our job done. So, and again, our job is to go out and pronounce death for homicide, accident, natural, just whatever comes up. So, and it is our job to find out the cause of death. So, again, thank you for your community support. I've been in this community for 23 years now, so I own and operate Gilbert Funeral Home. So I want to thank everyone's support over the years. So again, thank you. Please vote Kevin Gilbert. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Our next candidate scheduled to speak is Beth Fiss for the office of circuit clerk. Unfortunately, she's out of town, and she has asked the ladies at BPW has been given permission to speak next week, so we'll hear from her next week. So we'll move on down the list. Next on the list to speak is David Webster, representing School Board District number 5. I take it he's not here. Let's move on down the list. Tara Heinze, I'm sure, is at the school board meeting as well. So we'll hear from Scott Poston, running unopposed for magistrate from the North District. Or maybe not. All right, let's try this again. Running unopposed from constable, for constable from the West District, Chuck Fleming. All right then. We're at that point now where it's time to take a break. I would tell you that I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and it'll end up taking 10. So if you have to get up and stretch your legs a little bit, I need the candidates for mayor and the candidates for the city commission to go back to the meeting room now, and we'll get started just as soon as everybody gets settled back down. All right, just a reminder for the candidates that are going to be coming out one at a time and answering questions. When they come out, they will have 1 minute to introduce themselves. For the mayoral candidates, we will ask a series of questions, and they'll have 2.5 minutes to answer each question. And then once the questions are over, each candidate will have 2 minutes for closing remarks. And the candidates will come up in the order in which they appear on the ballot. The first of our mayoral candidates to speak tonight is Mr. Larry Dixon.
Thank you, BPW, for allowing us to come and speak tonight. And thank all of you who are attending tonight. We appreciate you coming out. My name is Larry Dixon, and I am running for the office of mayor. I am a lifelong resident of Franklin, Kentucky, and I have spent my entire life serving this community. And as you know, right now I am a current commissioner. I'm completing my 4th consecutive term as your city commissioner. I've served on many boards in this community, and I've enjoyed and loved serving the community. I love this community. I have raised my family here, and they also still love this community. They still love to come back and visit Franklin. I'm a member of First Baptist Church. I'm a deacon there. I'm a Sunday school director there, and have been for 27 years. And I try to give my very best in serving our community in whatever capacity that I served in. I'm financially invested and emotionally invested in this community. I have given it, again, my very best, and I look forward to continuing to serve. I, like many of you...
Mr. Dixon.
Sorry.
If elected to serve the citizens of Franklin, what will be your top priorities to achieve during your term?
Well, one of my top priorities will be to keep our schools safe and keep our schools safe, and to continue to see our community to grow economically and continue to bring jobs in and that way.
What is your strategy to improve the relationship between city and county governments?
Well, I tell you what, if I am elected, I look forward to working with our county judge executive, whoever that will be. And I believe in working with the governments working together. You can accomplish much more if you're all pulling in the same direction. And I believe that whichever county judge executive, whichever candidate that we have that's running for county judge executive, I think I can do my part in helping to bring our community together and work with both governments, both county governments.
What do you believe is the best aspect of Franklin and Simpson County? And explain what this feature tells others about our community and why you feel it's the best.
Well, there are many things. We have a great school system that's doing well. We have a beautiful square that people love to come downtown to and enjoy the concerts and the many other amenities that we have in our downtown area. And I believe that Franklin is the best place there is in the world to live. I love our community, and I love Franklin, and I believe that there's no better place in the world to live than in Simpson County.
How does your personal or business experience, particularly in the area of finances, make you qualified to serve as mayor?
Well, as most of you know, I was a business owner for 40 years here in Franklin, and I have done budgets. I know how to do those. I had to do them. You had to make sure that when you went to market that you knew how much money you could spend in whatever area that you were going to have to be spending it in. You had to know what you had and how much you had, and how to spread it out to cover all the aspects of what you would be buying. And I've served, I'm going to say, I can do budgets, and I think do those well.
All right, those are the questions that I have for you. At this time, you have 2 minutes for any closing remarks that you would like to make.
Well, I would just like to say that when you go to vote, and I hope each of you will, and I would encourage our whole community to go out and do that, with my business experience and public service experience and my long time invested personal involvement, I think I will be the best choice for the office of mayor for the city of Franklin, Kentucky. Please vote for me, number 1 on the ballot, Larry Dixon, November 6th. Thank you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Our next candidate for mayor is Kelly Busch.
We have 1 minute, right?
Yes.
I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I want to thank the BPW for hosting this. We have good attendance tonight. I appreciate everyone coming out. I want to thank my lovely wife, Ronnie, for being here tonight, my amazing mother, Annie Jean Swindle, as most of you may know her. Most of you may remember me from working on the farm with my grandfather and uncle Eugene and Jimmy Swindle. I'm Kelly Busch, and I'm running for mayor because I believe I am the best candidate for the job. I would appreciate your vote on November 6th. I'm number 2 on the ballot, but I am number 1 for change.
If elected to serve the citizens of Franklin, what will be your top priorities to achieve during your term?
So I think the main priority at first will be to implement something called lean. I know the city manager is working on that right now, but I think he needs more support, and he needs somebody who understands that lean is not about doing more with less, but it's a management system to help continuous improvement and help the employees of the city to basically be more efficient in the way they work. And it helps move things forward, like I said, by continuous improvement. And I think it's done a really good job in other states and other cities, and I think that would translate over to Franklin pretty well. And basically, this continuous improvement and empowering the employees to be more efficient would overall save time, which saves money, and provide better service to the citizens of Franklin. And that would be one of my top priorities if elected mayor.
What is your strategy to improve the relationship between city and county governments?
So I'm not exactly sure how this happened or why there seems to be a strained relationship between the city and the county. Personally, I don't see it, but I mean, I've seen it a little bit, but I don't know to what extent. I just think the answer is simple. I just don't understand why we just can't be neighbors and be citizens of Franklin
and get along. You know, if we have a problem, we get in the room, we talk about it. At the end of the day, we go home, we have dinner with our families, and we come back and we do it again. It's not a complicated situation, and I don't understand, you know, how it can get any more complicated than that besides just being neighbors and good citizens to each other.
What do you feel is the best aspect of Franklin and Simpson County? Explain what this feature tells others about our community and why you feel it's best.
I mean, growing up here, there's a lot of great things about Franklin and Simpson County. I think one of the great things right now that we have going for us is developing out the downtown district. I think that the downtown district could be a great place for people to go from out of town to make day trips. And really, honestly, I think, you know, the county has a lot to offer. Would it, you know, be nice if we had some other things like these bigger counties? Yes, it would. But we're not those counties. And we have to decide as a group of citizens where we want Franklin to go. And then our job in the government would be to move that vision forward. But the main thing right now is Franklin's a beautiful and great place. And I think the downtown district has a long way to go, but it's getting there. And, you know, God willing, it will progress.
How does your personal or business experience, particularly in the area of finances, make you qualified to serve as mayor?
So currently I'm an IT consultant. Basically what that is I'm an advisor to business leaders in their business. I've been in this industry for 18 years, and I've been a small business owner since 2012. I actually own a farm as well, besides being an IT consultant. And before this, I had a business that I purchased in Louisiana. I streamlined that business, and then I moved that business to Franklin, where I ran that business along with my consulting business. I later sold that business for 2.5 times what I paid for it, so I'm not a stranger to the finances and the budgets and the business aspect of it. I think, given my insight into the projects that I work on, these projects are in the millions of dollars, if not multi-millions of dollars, for companies that make $100 million or more, and even in billions of dollars. I've worked for some of the largest companies in America, like IBM and Xerox, Johnson & Johnson, and I was even the first person to implement Microsoft technology at Apple out in San Jose. So I think, given the broad experience that I've had in business and information technology, I think I can bring a lot to the table as Mayor of Franklin to help progress it forward.
That's all the questions I have for you. You have 2 minutes for a closing.
So if you were at the forum the other night for the Human Rights Commission, this is probably going to be a repeat of that, and just try not to laugh this time, Mason. I'll, you know, try to keep it within you. You know, a couple things. Somebody asked me when I first started if I was going to shave my beard because I was running for mayor and it looked bad. That's not the type of person I am. I'm not going to tell you, you know, my favorite color is blue and then come over here and tell you my favorite color is yellow. If you want to know the answer to something, I'm like Mr. Jerry D. If you want to know the answer to something, I'm probably the wrong person to ask. If you want to know the grass is green and the sky is blue, I'm definitely the wrong person to ask, because I will absolutely tell you what I think and what's on my mind. There is no ambiguity with me. It's very straightforward, and you know, what you see is what you get. I think that's the main thing, and I think that's one of the main things that I bring to the table is that, you know, I'm not just going to sit up there and say yes to everything. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. By nature, that's what I do as an IT consultant. I work mainly in the healthcare industry, and I don't have the luxury of not knowing, you know, what's going to happen when I go into an OR, when I go into a labor and delivery. So I have to ask a lot of questions, and what we use is a method called 5 whys. We ask why 5 times. And basically that's to get to the root cause of the problem, but it also works to get to the reason why something should be purchased. And I think that, and you know, just my general, this is what you see is what you get type of mentality. I think, you know, I'm the best person for the job. And I appreciate your vote on November 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Willis. The next next candidate on the ballot for mayor is Mr. Ronnie Clark.
One thing I learned from playing basketball with Coach Little, he said, if you're gonna be somewhere, be someplace, he always made us use stairs. Anyway, I'm Ronnie Clark, and I'm seeking re-election for mayor. I've been here just a few years. I was your high school principal and president and CEO of the bank, and I've been mayor 8 years, and I am married to Joan Clark, and David Clark's my son. So fire away, Mark.
If elected to serve the citizens of Franklin, what will be your top priorities to achieve during your term?
Well, I don't know that I have a top priority, but I would like for the city and county to come closer together in our relationship, work on our public parks, public safety, and infrastructure. And that's about what we're there for, so that's my main reason.
What would be your strategy to improve the relationship between city and county governments?
I think we may have to meet and discuss and outline the things that we'd like to see accomplished. And it's pretty easy to do if you have someone that's willing to meet you halfway. And we have some great magistrates and city commission that want to do that. That's all I can say at this particular time.
What do you believe is the best aspect of Franklin and Simpson County? And explain what this feature tells others about our community, and why do you feel it is best?
That's a pretty tough question. Simpson County is made up of people like everywhere else. As mayor, and as the principal and president of the bank, they have the same needs here in Franklin as they do in Bowling Green. They have most of the same amenities. The mayor and the city commission is responsibility for providing amenities, infrastructure, recreation if we can. But I think the main thing that I like, I've been here since 1962, the main thing is I like the accessibility to the people, the doctors, and the school system.
How does your personal or business experience, particularly in the area of finances, make you qualified to serve as mayor?
Well, first of all, in my 8 years, I think the city of Franklin is in the best financial condition it's ever been in its whole history. Now, how did it get there? We had a lot of help. The city manager, the great staff. I worked with the city commission. So you have to, the charge of the city commission is to make sure that we have the revenues, that we don't overspend, and right now we have more ability to do things that we need to do in case of a catastrophe. That's about all.
That's the last of the questions we have for you. Now, 2 minutes for closing remarks.
Well, there's an old saying, be quick and be gone, and I don't have anything to say. You know what I am. I've been here so many years. I was a high school principal, Franklin Bank president. So I've dealt with many, many people in this community, and I find them always to be careful and attentive to what I have to say. And I've been your mayor 8 years, and I'd like to have a job again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Our next candidate for mayor is Mr. James Cook.
Good evening, and thank you to the BPW for having me here. My name is James Cook. I'm the son of a former Marine. I'm running for the office of mayor, and I'm hoping to make a positive impact on our community.
If elected to serve the citizens of Franklin, What will be your top priorities to achieve during your term?
My top priorities would be to get more money back to the people and more money for education and towards our police department, who honestly doesn't have as much funding as they should have.
What is your strategy to improve the relationship between the city and county governments?
I want to work with the county to, sorry, I had that into my head and slipped. I want to work with the county to be able to, like I said, go back to my first answer, to draw more people, not just into Franklin, but into Simpson County, to help increase the revenue in Franklin, Simpson County.
What do you believe is the best aspect of Franklin and Simpson County? Explain what this feature tells others about our community and why you feel it is the best.
Well, I first moved here back in 1997. I fell in love with Franklin, fell in love with Simpson County because of the small town feel. While we do continue to grow economically and in population and business, we do tend to keep that small town feel, and that's kind of what I want to keep going with Franklin.
How does your personal or business experience, particularly in the area of finances, make you qualified to serve as mayor?
Well, when it comes to finances, I know that sometimes there's not a whole lot in the budget to cover everything that you personally want, so you have to give up some of what you want for the betterment of the business, or in this case, for Franklin and the residents of Franklin.
That's all the questions I have for you. You have 2 minutes for any closing remarks.
Again, I appreciate you guys coming out tonight, letting me speak. My name is James Cook. I would appreciate your vote for mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. We will now move on and meet our candidates for City Commission. The first candidate that we will listen to is Michelle Webb.
Ooh, I feel like it was a long walk and y'all are all still here. Good evening, and thank you for taking the time to better educate yourself on each of the candidates that are running tonight. My name is Michelle Webb, and I'm asking for your vote on November 6th for City Commissioner. I'm not here to battle what's right or wrong. I'm here to shine a positive light on our city. I'm here to let you know that I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and to be here to do the important work that's at hand. But most importantly, I'm ready to be your voice for Franklin. My husband and I are lifelong residents of Franklin, where we plan to stay and raise our 3 children to become successful FS Wildcat graduates. We own and operate a local business on the square, 4 Soils, and I want to see economic growth, and I want to see happy families attending events. And I want to work with the mayor, the manager, other commissioner, and city employees to communicate our concerns. So let me be a new, fresh face to put your voice to work for you. I'm ready to form a web for Franklin.
What is your one priority and one key change that you would like to see in our city?
One key change that has been something that has been brought to my attention several times is communication. I think that we do the best that we can as far as communication for the city, but I'd like to see an improvement in that. Instead of the city commissioner meetings, maybe there would be a later time so more of our residents can be able to go to attend. More town hall meetings, I think, is very important, so people can come and give their voice in their opinions. But communication and really hearing the understanding of our residents in Franklin and communicating to everybody the problems and the concerns.
What is your strategy to address Franklin's parking concerns on the square and traffic concerns throughout the city?
Whew, that's a big one for us. Like I said, we own and operate 4 schools on the square, so parking is a very, very large concern. I think that we have a lot of available resources for parking on the square and kind of off the branch. One of the things, I've actually been monitoring this for the past couple of weeks. I've already addressed my employees to park at the furthest distance that you can to still get to the business, because I do not want an elderly person to come in or someone with needs, or even my customers to not be able to have parking close up front. So I believe leaving those spots up front for our employees is really important. Really look at the empty lots that we have to use those spots for parking spaces. And then look at where our city employees can park in a further space to get in, to allow our customers to be able to come into our businesses on the square. But I would really, of course, anything cannot be done just by me. It's by a team of people. So to see where our residents would be a better fit for the parking and kind of block those off. Right now, I know we have a lot of 2-hour parking, and it is hard. I've heard the concerns, it's hard to enforce that. But really, let's utilize those parking slots that are closest to our business for our customers, and to mark off spots for our handicap, I think would be really, really useful.
Why do you think so many local businesses fail to thrive here in Franklin? And how do you plan to aid in attracting and retaining local businesses?
Just an example, I really like these questions. We own a business on the square, and it's been a really hard challenge for 4 months for us. You hear it day in and day out on social media, people around the area saying, we want to support local businesses, but you don't always see that. I think that everybody in the community really needs to truly support each other. Whether you own a boutique business, whether you own a car lot, whether you own a repair shop, whether you own a restaurant, we are all in this together to grow Franklin together. We're not in this to just say, hey, I want to do better than you. We need to strive to help the next person out. I daily, and this is just on my personal, I daily share and tell other people, or I tag. If we do not offer something at our restaurant, I'm going to call on a local business here in Franklin, because I want to see Franklin grow. I think that everybody needs to put all their feelings to a side, and we need to support one another. If something that we can't do, or our family member cannot do for Franklin, then you need to point them in the right direction of another small business owner, because if we don't, and we keep holding a grudge, then it's not going to ever grow. Franklin will not grow if we do not support one another. So I think that support, it needs to not just say you're going to support something, truly support one another to grow Franklin.
What do you expect that Franklin and Simpson County will look like in 25 years? Do you anticipate exceptional change, or do you expect the community to remain much the same?
If we remain the same, then it will remain the same. I believe that we got to want economic growth. I think that we've got to make sure that our school systems are going in a positive direction. We got to make people want to come to Franklin. If we make people want to come to Franklin and give them the amenities and the resources, then I hope to see Franklin in 20 years to be where my children are still here. I think Franklin is a very good town. It's your small town. You hear some say, well, once I leave, you never come back. That's never been the case for us. I want my kids to be here. I want them to race here. So in 20 years from now, I would hope to see my children still living here, us have more amenities, to have economic growth, for people to want to move to Franklin, to work at our jobs, to want to come in and eat at our restaurants, to want to get our cars repaired for somebody locally. So if we stay the same and keep going in a direction, just want to keep everything low and modest, then I think it will stay the same. But I project that we've got a lot of good people that are running for office that want growth, and they want to see like a good positive change for Franklin. So I hope that we're booming in 20 years. So
Thank you. That's all the questions I have for you. You have 2 minutes for a closing.
And here it goes. Thank you for your time and your open heart to come out here and listen to everybody. The most important thing in life is that you live your life with integrity and not to give in to peer pressure, to try to be something that you're not, to live your life honest and with compassion, to contribute in some way that you can through your community, through each one of you. So to conclude my conclusion tonight, follow your passion, stay true to yourself, and never follow anyone else's path unless you're in the woods. And if you're lost in the woods and you see a path, you better take it. I want to be the fresh new voice for Franklin. I want to listen twice as much as I speak. I want to speak only words of growth, opportunity, and understanding. I want to be a part of the team that communicates to our residents on ongoing situations and continuous growth and development. I want to be the voice for you. What I found in life, there comes difficulties. And if you don't pay attention to those small whispers of difficulties, then over time they become screams. Sooner or later, the screams will get louder and louder. Whatever you resist, persist. But if you ask the right questions on why things are not happening, instead of what there is to teach me, it puts you in the place and a space to get the information you need. Let me be the one asking questions. Let me be the one to dig deep into situations, and let me be the one that's willing to work hard for you. I have an open door policy, and any time that anybody wants to contact me, you come into Forest Soils, I work there just like my employees. From the time that we open to the time that we close, you can contact me on social media, and I would love to chat with you with any concerns that you have. I would like to chat about my vision for Franklin. Remember to vote Michelle Webb November 6th, #1 on the ballot, and #1 for a positive, fresh change for Franklin.
Thank you, Ms. Webb. Our next candidate for City Commission is Mr. Herbert Williams.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank the BPW for inviting me to this forum tonight. I'm Herbert Williams. I live at 715 Grandview Drive. I'm married to Christine Francis Williams. She retired from General Motors in '07. Of course, excuse me, what does that mean? Okay, 30 seconds to talk about myself. Well, it's not much that they don't know about me. So 30 seconds. I have been a former commissioner, and I've also been appointed mayor. And I'm on the ballot, #2 ballot. I'm running for city commissioner. I didn't get enough.
What is your one priority and one key change that you would like to see in our city?
Well, I would like to see the continuous growth. I would like to see some activities for the senior citizens. I would like to see nothing against the restaurants that we do have here, but I would like to see us have some comparison restaurants where we wouldn't have to go to Bowling Green or Rivergate or Nashville to be, well, they're all good here in Franklin. You can look at me and tell I visit them well, but that's just one of the things. Franklin is growing, and I think we need the growth of everything around.
What is your strategy to address Franklin's parking concerns on the square and traffic concerns throughout the city?
Well, you know, we are a little tight around the square. We've always been that way. course, there's always room for improvement. There's always room for change. So, you know, I guess if we'd all work together and look at the parkings around the squares, because you know we have people living around the square now, and maybe if we had a public parking for those people that live around the square, that would give us more room to approach the square.
Why do you think so many local businesses fail to thrive here in Franklin? And how do you plan to aid in attracting and retaining local businesses?
Well, local businesses, we need a lot of, I guess, advertising for the local businesses. That's another thing that I feel like that we need here. We need the other surroundings to attract the business around the square. Like I said, we need entertainment for the children. I know we have a nice park here, one of the best looking parks in the state of Kentucky. But you know, there's some things lacking where people want entertainment for the children, and I think that we need some of that here in Franklin. Like, you know, we don't have a public swimming pool anymore, and we don't have the water shower or waterfall or whatever they have at the other places. You know, the children attract the community. And I think if we had provide things for the children, the parents would like to live here in this community, because we already have factories and factories coming and going, and those are things that attract people in the community, and like I say, children comes first.
What do you expect that Franklin and Simpson County will look like in 25 years? Do you anticipate exceptional change, or do you expect the community to remain much the same?
Well, let's be real. 25 years from now, you know, I probably won't be around. But at the same time, if you know, the growth, it's a small city, it's large enough to service, small enough to know us. So if we continue with the way the city has carried itself, the character of this community, I'm sure it will enlarge. And you know, you wish for the best. This is our home. Everybody wants to improve their home, the surroundings, the city, and that's what we look forward to.
That's all the questions that I have for you tonight. You have 2 minutes for closing.
2 minutes for closing, okay. Like I said, everyone knows me. I'm Herbert Williams. My father was the late Charles. My mother was Willie Ruth Williams. And I've been in Franklin all my life. There's nothing like being at home. And I have served as Parks Board. I've served on the Parks Board. I've served on the Housing Authority. I've served on the Industrial Board. And I'm a member of the Alpha Missionary Baptist Church. I'm a trustee there, and they say that I'm honest and I can be trusted. And I would like to thank this audience. I'd like to thank the BPW for having me. And that's pretty much all I have to say. I think Miss Bennett is next, so if I have any extra minutes, you can give them to her.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Our next candidate for City Commission that will speak is Mr. Sid Raby.
and I was gonna need a box to stand on, or, and then John Hall got up here and all my fears went away. I am Sid Rady. I'm a lifelong resident of Franklin. Graduated from Franklin Simpson High School, attended Murray State University and Western. Have two brothers, Steve and Scott. All right. And 36, okay. Well, I'll go with that.
What is one priority and one key change that you would like to see in our city?
Well, I would like to see full-time fire. I think that's something that is well overdue. It's going to have to be a collaborative effort with the county. So we're going to have to start by getting the county and the city on the same page, which needs to be as well. It's not a quick fix for it. It's a long-term project, but it can be done.
What is your strategy to address Franklin's parking concerns on the square and traffic concerns throughout the city?
Well, that we're kind of strapped in a way on that. I mean, that's a hard question. It does need to be addressed. I think we need to figure out how to utilize the parking lot across from the jail. And I think we need to utilize that more the best we can, because that's what we've got right now. That's the quick fix.
Why do you think so many local businesses fail to thrive here in Franklin? How do you plan to aid in attracting and retaining local businesses?
Well, I think businesses now are beginning to, you're seeing more longevity out of businesses in Franklin. Excuse me. We've got, we have a lot of new growth in Franklin as far as new revitalization of downtown. And I think that's helped attract what we've got. And it helps attract our industry as well.
What do you expect Franklin and Simpson County will look like in 25 years? Do you anticipate exceptional change, or do you expect the community to remain much the same?
I can see change, but I don't see a huge expansive change. I see progressive but not aggressive as we move along in the years. We've seen the changes that have happened over the past 20 years, and I think we should see much of the same, maybe a little more for the times, but I don't think we can expect a huge change.
That's all the questions I have for you. You have 2 minutes for a closing.
Well, first, just want to say I would appreciate your vote. I'd like to thank the BPW again for having this. And I'd like to, excuse me, ask everybody to keep Mr. Wilson Stone in your thoughts and prayers. I know Tiger put a nice message out yesterday, and that's appreciated, that is, but I think that's more important than anything I would have to say in closing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rady. Our next candidate for City Commissioner is Mr. Jamie Powell.
My name is Jamie Powell. Thank the BPW for hosting this. I have two daughters, Tammy and Samantha, two grandchildren, Kevin and Dakota. I've been a public servant with the City of Franklin 41 years, 31 on the police department. I'm finishing my 10th year on the City Commission, and I feel I've always been a public servant and a voice of the people.
What is one priority and one key change that you would like to see in our city?
Well, first, I would like to see better cooperation between the city and county. We've kind of drifted apart. Cooperation between them and the chamber and the industrial authority is key to any recruitment. Factories won't come here if they see bickering and fighting going on. I think we need a better spirit of cooperation.
What is your strategy? What is your strategy to address Franklin's parking concerns on the square and traffic concerns throughout the city?
We've always had a shortage of parking. We need more parking. We need more parking spaces. I think we need to look at off the square parking and see if there's areas that we can put a parking lot. If the business owners can park in the back, they need to park in the back. As far as the traffic problems, there's a lot of stop signs that's being run. Maybe more traffic enforcement.
Why do you think so many local businesses fail to thrive here in Franklin? And how do you plan to aid in attracting and retaining local businesses?
When you essentially locate between Bowling Green and Nashville, sometimes it's hard to get small businesses here. And when you have like Walmart, you know, they shop there, and it's hard to attract businesses down on the square. I think we need to participate and support our local businesses, advertise them, tell people about them. But if we don't support them, then people are not coming in from out of town to support them.
What do you expect that Franklin and Simpson County will look like in 25 years? Do you anticipate exceptional change, or do you expect the community to remain much the same?
I think in 25 years, our city limits and Bowling Green city limits will probably touch one another. We are growing by leaps and bounds. We're probably growing more than any community around us. We have more industry. I'd say in 25 years, there won't be much county. It will all be city.
That's all the questions I have for you tonight. You have 2 minutes for a closing.
2017, 17 ribbon cuttings, 3 groundbreakings. 2018, 14 ribbon cuttings, 4 groundbreakings. Last 7 years, 21 new industries, 1,400 jobs when they're full capacity. 19 existing industries expanded, 760 new jobs, $410 million investment. This is what has happened to growth in Franklin in the last 7 years. This is done through cooperation, leadership, experience, and vision. It's provided jobs for our children and grandchildren, provided homes where they can live here in Franklin. I think we just need the right people in the right position to continue this spirit of cooperation, to continue to recruit businesses. And I feel that I have been a part of this for the last 10 years, and I am one of the 4 most qualified to continue this. I humbly ask for your vote and support on number 6. I'm number 4 on the ballot. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Our next candidate for City Commissioner is Mr. Wendell Stewart.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, of course, my name is Wendell Stewart, and I am running for your city commissioner once again. To the BPW, thank you very much for this invitation to participate in this forum. Again, my name is Wendell Stewart. I am a 1982 graduate of Frank Simpson High School, 1993 graduate of Mid-State Barber-Stalin College in Nashville, Tennessee. In 1985, I opened up Stewart's Barbershop, and I'm presently still running that after 33 years. I've been so fortunate to be a part of this commission for 8 terms, and I'm vowing for another one. Thank you very much.
What is one priority and one key change you'd like to see in our city?
One priority, one key change. Well, first of all, I want to make mention of the progression that we've made in these years that I've been on the commission. There's a lot of issues that needed to be addressed, and I truly believe that a lot of them need to be addressed. One in particular is that I share that I think that we really need to identify with. And I think we've done a good job with it. And that's our population growth. People coming in, because as you know, once we send our children off to college, generally they don't come back. So hopefully we need to try to do something, if nothing else, to work on retention and encourage our young people to come back. Because as we grow older, we would need them to fill our voids and to progressively move this community on. So I don't have anything priority that I'd like to say, because a lot of issues I know that have been addressed. Our infrastructure is strong, and we're working on that. We have a good public service with fire department, police department, and we work really well with our other governmental agencies. We have a good cooperation with our jail system, and there's so much that is happening and has happened in this community that it's really hard for me just to point out something that I would consider a priority. But as we move forward and continue to grow, just continue to support the progress that we are presently having.
What's your strategy to address Franklin's parking concerns on the square and traffic concerns throughout the city?
Once again, that is a difficult issue, and that is one that's going to be a little bit hard to address. I know as we grow, with growth, come these issues and these problems, and we for a long time have wanted to improve the downtown. And you see the boutiques and the various small businesses that are filling downtown, and that's what we always wanted. We wanted people to come to our downtown, and it's a good problem to have, because we set our downtown set so empty for so long, and now as you see how it's been beautified with the improvement of the buildings and things of that nature, to have a parking issue at this point, it is a good issue, but it's still one that has to be addressed. There are spaces, and we just have to work with every governmental agency. There's a lot of people that work downtown, and maybe we have to encourage some of our employees that actually work downtown to park at specific locations, to open up more parking places and things like that for people to come into downtown and support the businesses and the things that we have downtown. So, a lot of those things we have to look at, because of course our one of the main streets that drive through the middle of downtown is the state highway, and you're limited sometimes to what you can do with streets like that. So hopefully we can work with the state and maybe improve some of the parking situation and address it. But I don't think there is a real honest answer that I can give you tonight. We just have to continue to discuss and explore our options that we have to be able to open up spaces for us to park downtown.
Why do you think so many local businesses fail to thrive here in Franklin? And how do you plan to aid in attracting and retaining local businesses?
That's a good question. I made mention earlier, if you notice that a lot of our businesses that come, they have an immediate rush of people that support those businesses. And then what you have, you have a little small turnover, because eventually, like anything else, you get used to it, and then people kind of stray away. So once again, and it's being addressed, our housing, as you see that there are investors that are investing in our community to build houses, which is one of the things that need to be addressed. But we had to have some infrastructural issues with planning and zoning to make it more attractive for contractors to come in and build homes. So now that we're doing that, our school is one of the best schools in the state. We do have a very good government body that cooperatively work together. And we have a lot of joint efforts of people working together in this community. And a lot of these things people don't even get paid for them. It's a lot of volunteer work. So we just have to make our community more attractive, because we have to build our population, to be able to have a good rotation of people. I may go to a store today, and then it may be somebody that's moved in here. So we have to have the numbers. And I think it's going to come. The things that we have in our downtown give us a good leg to stand on when we sell in our downtown. This is what we have. So when we go out and talk about what we have in our community, we do have things that we can actually go out and tell people that we can sell to people to make it more encouraging to come to our community, and hopefully they want to live here.
What do you expect that Franklin and Simpson County will look like in 25 years? Do you anticipate exceptional change, or do you expect the community to remain much the same?
No, I see a change. I've seen a change. I've been in the government now for nearly 16 years, but I've been around it nearly 20, and I've seen some major changes in this community. And I think sometimes, you know, as you see progression, it's almost like having a child. You know, as they grow in front of you, one day you look at them and they're taller than you, and you're like, when did that happen? So I think that's the same thing that's happening in our community. As you see, some of the things that come with our growth may not have been acceptable, and may still not be acceptable. But to compete in this market out here, there are some of the things that's necessary to bring into your community, you know, in order for it to grow. So in 25 years, I think, as you know, the economy and things, you know, there's a growth down in the Tennessee border where their economy is so outrageous, and the housing is so expensive that there are people that's going to come out of there, and they're going to want to find somewhere to go that is safe, quiet, easy, you know, good living. And you call it Maryberry if you want to, but it's awful good when everybody knows each other. And that's how I grew up, and I still feel that. And that's one of the things that has attracted me and made me want to stay here, because I could have left years ago, but I'm so glad that I didn't. And I just, you know, it's good to call Franklin my home.
That's all the questions I have for you. You have 2 minutes for closing.
Once again, I want to thank the BPW for the invitation to participate in this forum. Thank you for coming out and hearing us. I know that during the political climate, I know you get tired of the signs and talking and advertising, and you know, November the 6th just can't get here soon enough, trust me. And it's the same for me. But once again, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your coming out. But I do want to make this a session. You know, being an elected official is not an easy thing. It's not. And there's a whole lot of things that there's assumption that you might think you know, but you will not have any clue until you can dive into it and actually see what it is and what it's all about. I thank this community for giving me that opportunity for the years to really get in here and get my feet wet and get more of a better understanding. And I'm so happy with the progression that we've made thus far, but there's still a lot of work to do. I pray that you will consider me on November the 6th. And once again, thank everyone for coming out. Thank you.
Our next candidate for city commissioner is Brownie Bennett.
Good evening, everyone, and I also would like to thank Franklin BPW for giving me the opportunity to speak to you tonight. This is the first year in many years I've been on this side. Usually I'm in the planning of this, but I told them this year I didn't want any part of it. So, but for those of you who may not know me, my name is Brownie Bennett, and I am running for city commissioner. I have been a long-time resident of Franklin. But actually I wasn't born here. I was born in Nashville, Tennessee, moved here when I was 8. My dad was Reggie Bennett, my mother was Martha Nash Bennett. We moved here so my mother could work in my grandmother's cafeteria. She was Bessie Fields and my grandfather was Steve Fields. I'm a graduate of Franklin Simpson High School, attended Western Kentucky University, majored in accounting. Worked at Alliance Rubber for 18 years, then worked for the newspaper for 11 years. Currently the director of the Franklin Simpson Community Arts Council. I'm lucky to live in Franklin and proud to be a Franklin Simpson Wildcat.
What is one priority and one key change that you would like to see in our city?
Well, one priority that I would like to see is to see the relationship between the city and the county reestablished. this last May, I think we had a lot of things that went on that caused some dissension between the city and the county. And you know, it had been a long time since we had any of that. We used to have it a lot years ago between the mayor and the city commissioners, or you know, the police station, the mayor. There was a lot, you know, years and years ago. For the last several years, we've had smooth running city and county relations, and I would like to see that, you know, reestablished. Priority, though, is I would like to handle the city parking situation. We have a lot of people complaining about that. The people are trying to shop downtown, have complaints about not having good parking, but we need to work with the merchants to help them have a place to park, but yet give plenty of parking space for the people that want to come downtown and shop. I think that we do need something for the children and the seniors to do, but we've got to choose the right thing. We've got to be able to pay for it in the right way. I think we recently went through the situation with the aquatic center. Not saying it's a bad thing to have an aquatic center, but maybe the scale was too big and we had a lot of problems with that. So I think a lot more time needs to go into planning something for our youth and our seniors.
What is your strategy to address Franklin's parking concerns on the square and traffic concerns throughout the city?
Well, I kind of jumped the gun there, didn't I? Well, I think that one of the things that I think the City Commission has talked about before is looking at some areas where we can open up some parking off the square. That would give some of the people who own businesses a place to park, so that it would allow some space for their customers. As far as the traffic flow, you know, it's been talked about before, and I don't know how feasible this is. You know, many years ago they mentioned making the streets around the square one way coming north and one way going south. I don't know how feasible that would be, but that would be something to look at. So there's different things to talk about. I think it would you just have to have a study between city commissioners and maybe some appointed people from the Franklin Merchants and Transportation Department, talk to them about some suggestions.
Why do you think so many local businesses fail to thrive here in Franklin? How do you plan to aid in attracting and retaining local businesses?
Well, I think that's probably two or threefold, actually. You know, if you can't find a parking place, you drive around and you give up and you go somewhere else. So the merchants, they need to consider where they're parking and to alleviate that problem. People, they get aggravated because they can't find a parking place. They get aggravated because they don't find what they want the first time around. We have a lot of new businesses here in town that are opening up. I think people in Franklin have to give them a chance. I think there's an old saying, shop Franklin first. I'm trying to do that right now. So if people made that a priority, shopping Franklin first before you go to Bowling Green or before you go to Nashville or somewhere else, I think that would help alleviate that problem. So if you work on the parking, you make a commitment to shop Franklin first before you go anywhere else. And then do some things to have some activities around the square to get people there. For instance, if the concerts on the square start at 7, if the people want to stay open from 5 to 7, and let everybody know we're going to be open to 7 o'clock, so the people coming to the concerts can go uptown and shop. So there's a lot of different things that they can do, and that's something that you would work with the Franklin Merchants to see about.
What do you expect that Franklin and Simpson County will look like in 25 years? Do you anticipate exceptional change, or do you expect the community to remain much the same?
Well, that's really a hard one, because because I don't think we really know. What I would like to see is I would like to see growth in Franklin, but I would like to see our downtown stay sort of the same, you know, with the square buildings being full, but all the growth on the outskirts. I think that you could have some ordinances and limit your growth so that all your growth will be on the outside. I think, you know, that the city has set up a planning and we have the planning and zoning, and then they've got an ordinance now for buildings downtown. You know, we are growing leaps and bounds, but all the growth seems to be on the outskirts. So I could envision that if something were to continue to happen with Kentucky Downs, we could have building all the way out to the state line almost. I can't see right now that anything going north other than the industrial parks, but hopefully that will even improve. So I really would love to see Franklin grow, but I would like to keep the downtown area of small town Franklin looking the same.
That's all the questions I have for you tonight. You have 2 minutes for closing.
Well, I said this the other night when we spoke in front of the Human Rights Commission, that I am very lucky to live in Franklin. It's a wonderful place to live and raise a family. And I think we have a great school system, a beautiful square, economic growth, and a thriving art community, and we have fantastic people. I'm running for city commission because I want to maintain the uniqueness of small town Franklin, but to continue the steady but measured and controlled growth. I would like to see the solutions for our downtown parking, rebuild the relationship between the city and county government, expand for activities for our youth and seniors, help grow the business community. Everything that we just talked about was in my speech on Tuesday. I feel like that I could be dedicated to this community like I've always been for years, but I could be a new face with a new voice and a new vision. I feel like I'm the right person for the right reason at the right time. Someone said, why should we vote for you as city commissioner? And I said, well, that all depends on what you want in a city commissioner. If you want someone who's always been committed to this community, as hardworking, dedicated, local civic leader, that would be me. If you're looking for someone that will assess the problems and issues and educate yourself on the situation, make decisions based on what they feel is right for the city, using energy and enthusiasm with a calm voice of reason and a no-nonsense approach, that would be me. You know, it might be time for a change. It might be time for a woman. It might be time for me. I would appreciate your vote, November the 6th, Brownie Bennett, number 6 on the ballot.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett. This concludes our candidate speaking for tonight. I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank the candidates for coming out and participating. I want to remind you all that we'll be back here next Tuesday night at the same time, same place, covering the rest of our offices that will be on the ballot. On behalf of the BPW, we'll see you next week. Thank you.